is typically the safe bet. I'm getting the YouTube stream ready, the Facebook stream ready.
Doug, did you send me a announcement sheet?
I did. I could resend it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, do it for me, please.
All right, you got it. Coming your way right now.
Okay.
We are live on YouTube, about to be live on Facebook. No more jokes. Live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Bringing in Councilman Kaplan.
Hello.
Hello, Councilman.
Second.
Dean. We have 4,
We have 5, I believe.
5.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's. Are you ready to go, Doug?
Yes, 1 minute over here. So now let me make sure the streams are good. All righty. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Zoom recording is taking place. Mayor, whenever you are ready, you are free to call the meeting to order.
All right. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
allegiance to
flag,
the flag
United
of the
States.
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilwoman Romney Rice. Councilman Magan. Here. Councilwoman Organ.
Here.
Councilman Kaplan.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Katz. Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by resolution number 226-2020, sending a copy to the newspaper's official designated for 2021 by way of resolution number 101-2020, filing a copy in the township clerk's office and posting it on the municipal building bulletin board, and the mayor hereby directs that this statement be included in the minutes.
Thank you, Doug. Just very few announcements for this evening. Present tonight are Dean Kaczynski, our township manager, Doug Roussillon, our township clerk. Clarence Barnes is back at headquarters, the building maintenance worker. Ron Goodman is our volunteer cable caster extraordinaire. And we have Mr. John Shadanian from the law firm of McCusker and Selmy, Rosen and Carvelli. The next televised council meeting will take place on Tuesday, April 13th at 7 p.m. Please be advised that the municipal building will be closed Friday, April 2nd in observance of Good Friday. And just so everyone knows, the council did not meet prior to this meeting in closed session. We have one council listed item tonight, proposed resolution. Councilmember Kaplan, do you want to bring it up?
Sorry. Sure, let me just pull it up here. My apologies. So if you take a look in our packet, I believe it's on the 4th page. There's a resolution I would like to introduce in support of our Asian and Pacific Islander community. As many members of the public are aware, there have been a spate of unfortunate attacks and increases in violence against our community. And Teaneck is, blessed to be a community with so many different groups that all come together that really create the fabric of our town. And one of the things that we have done in the past is to come together as a group. Obviously, that's been strained a bit during the pandemic. But what is not strained is our willingness to open ourselves up and meet one-on-one with our neighbors and tell them when they're having trouble that we stand with them. There was a vigil today in support of them that was arranged by some groups in town. And I would also like the resolution that we have, which I believe was also sponsored by the Grace Chapel, to be adopted by the council. It reads entitled "Declaring Solidarity with Asian American, and Pacific Islander AAPI Communities."
Discussion? I'm having a hard time. I'm not seeing anybody. Okay.
We can see you. We can see and hear you.
Okay, so
So I'll move to adopt the resolution if there's a second.
Second Schwartz.
I believe before we adopt Councilman Kaplan, we will need to bring it in as a walk-in and then consider it after good and welfare, so the public has a chance to speak on the council's action.
Excellent. So I will
Mr.
consider
Clark.
that by acclamation, move to walk in the resolution.
Do we have a second for that?
Second.
okay. All right, votes unanimous to walk in the resolution, and we'll deal with that right after good and welfare. Okay, thank you, Keith, for doing this. Very good job. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
the meeting now is open to the public for good and welfare and public input on any matters. And
Again, members of the public, residents of Teaneck, you know how the system works. 3 minutes. I have a timer. If you are not able to fit your thought in within the 3 minutes prescribed, please email me, your township clerk, Doug Roussillon, at clerk@teanecknj.gov. And I will be sure to copy and paste your statement verbatim into the minutes. And with that, I see our first hand, Miss Sandy Silverberg. Bringing you in, Miss Sandy Silverberg. Give her just a second. I brought you in, Sandy. It looks like it's just taking a second. Looks like a little technological lag there. Sandy. Oh, she seems to have dropped. All right, Sandy, if you can still hear me. Oh, there she is again. Hang on. We'll get you in, Sandy.
Thank you.
Hello, Sandy. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, Doug, before you start my 3 minutes, I have to tell you that I liked your jacket last time too. But as John Shadanian well knows, I cannot afford to be accused of sexual harassment again. So I will not comment on your good looks jacket or not.
Before Ms. Silverberg, before you start, just make sure you let everybody know that I represented you in the past, and that you're not accusing me of anything.
No, I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm saying I'm trying to avoid being accused myself again. So, you know.
Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate it. I'm going to start the timer now.
Okay. I'm here. Good evening, Council and Mr. Manager, Mr. Shedanian. I'm here to ask you for your support of the library's entire budget request as presented. Having written to you since the last meeting, I want to thank you for considering what I wrote. My primary reason was to emphasize that during the building closures all over town, the library never suspended services. On the contrary, during the first quarter of 2020, circulation was up in every category compared to the same quarter in 2019. Even though the building generally was not available to the public, we saw an increase, of 124% over 2019 in the use of digital materials. While the public continues to use physical materials, we have not seen a decrease in digital use to pre-pandemic levels, nor should one expect to. And that is our pressing issue. We need to increase our full-time staffing level, especially in the reference section where a full-time emerging technologies librarian is needed. In the 10 years between 2011 and 2021, the number of full-time employees dropped by 10. In 2011, there were 29 full-time members. Today, there are only 19. If you grant the budget request as presented, the library will still be at 8 shy employees compared to 2011. What are the imperatives behind this request? COVID has changed everything, and there is no going back. There is only going forward in life. Digital platforms and services demand consistent and sufficient funding if the library is to keep pace with the increasing demand, let alone get ahead of it and lead as we know we could. Collections must be curated, training opportunities for our patrons are necessary. Staff development is critical so that the library can help bridge the exposed and growing digital divide that we have discovered exists to a larger degree, sadly, than we could have even imagined. If the library is sufficiently funded and staffed, it can serve to improve the needs and skill sets of the workforce, students, seniors, and other targeted groups who so desperately need support. Separate from the operating budget request is a capital request primarily for the replacement of the aging cooling tower. I want to thank you for listening. I want to wish you peace-filled holidays to all of you who celebrate them, and peace and kindness to everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Judy Disler, for writing to the council. Thank you, Jane Irwin, for letting me speak in your name as well. Thanks, Doug. Thank you, everybody.
Sandy. Thank you, Sandy. Bringing in our next guest, we have Mr. Alan Sohn.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. You have 3 minutes.
We heard at the last meeting claims, all sorts of claims about how well the township did in paying $8 million for the Glen Point tax appeal. We heard about the wisdom of not putting money aside, even a single penny. And we heard about how the CFO put money into the budget for tax appeals. Considering that the claim is that the township was expecting a $15 million verdict, it's all the more disturbing that zero money was set aside for the Glen Point appeal. It's all the more disturbing knowing that more than $2 million was expended on a grotesquely over-designed pottyplex, knowing that this giant verdict was coming. It's all the more bizarre knowing that $8 million is considered a success and a victory. The bizarre claims from Mr. Pagan that these kitchens are magic would be great if these kitchens could actually churn out money. They don't. As to the claim that money had been put in the budget, $300,000 wasn't put into the budget for tax appeals. It was one of the few things that wasn't removed. These decisions to actively engage in fiscal irresponsibility are new. Previous councils have been able to spend responsibly, to pass zero budgets without adding debt. From 2014 to 2018, there was $5.9 million dedicated in the budget to tax appeals and terminal leave, an average of well over $1 million a year. Starting in 2019, with the arrival of some new council members, this council cynically cut that to that $750,000 out of the budget and down to a single dollar, $1 to cover more than $1.3 million in payments to retiring employees that have been added to debt. Tax appeals added to debt. Debt is soaring as never before. This year is going to have a fortune in payments to Glen Point, but there will be millions in tax appeals from the Glen Point hotels and every other commercial property. $300,000 is not enough. The fundamental problem is that this council is focused on benefiting themselves at the expense of the public. The thousands from the Sanzari family to fund Deputy Mayor Katz and his running mates, Dunleavy and Kaplan, have paid off generously for the Sanzaris. Far more disturbing is the blatant pay-to-play by the Nishwan Group, which paid $900 and received a $20,000 no-bid contract to do work that had already been done for half the price. The moving Teaneck forward candidates received dozens of contributions amounting to tens of thousands of dollars from special interests and political groups outside of Teaneck. I hope that we can hear explanations from Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Pagan, and Ms. Organ for the pay-to-play, and from Mr. Shadanian as to when the Nishwan Group will be dismissed. The circle of sleaze continues unabated. The budget games will continue as well. Welcome to the new irresponsible Teaneck. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sohn. Bringing in Dr. Powers.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. You got 3 minutes.
Tonight, I want to learn more about the financial affairs of the winning slate in Teaneck's last May elections for council, the slate named Moving Teaneck Forward. At the bottom of each of the slate's 10 reports after 2 organizational ones that this slate made to the Election Law Enforcement Commission, each candidate, Organ, Pagan, and Schwartz, signed the following statement. I certify that the statements on this document are true and that the contribution amounts received conform with the limitations designated by law. I'm aware that if any of the statements are willfully false, I may be subject to punishment. A quick review of those reports on the state's election website shows that 5 of the 10 campaign slate reports were amended, presumably to correct earlier errors. Perhaps more significant is the fact that on one single day in late January of this year, 2021, 8.5 months after the election was over, the campaign filed 5 reports, all late, and 3 of which were explicitly hugely to amend data from the original reports filed beginning in early April of last year. My question tonight is directed to council members Organ, Pagan, and Schwartz. These reports just filed in January show enormous differences from what you certified last April and May and July, not only about the size and source of your contributors and contributions, but also about when and how you expended your campaign funds. For example, these new January 21 reports reveal that your campaign had literally 15 times more contributors who gave your campaign more than $300, typically $900 or more, than you disclosed last spring. That is 15 times more large contributors than your initial reports had reported. Are we to believe that in spite of your certification about the statements on your reports to the state, None of you knew that those report certifications about contributions were in error? And does that mean that your campaign committee chair and treasurer Gerald Reiner had withheld the actual contributions data about which he asked you to certify? Can you please explain, each of you, how all of this happened? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. I see one more hand here, Miss Lynn Buckingham. I am bringing in Miss Lynn Buckingham. Thank you again, Dr. Powers. Hello, Lynn. Please unmute.
I'm very sorry. I'm here in support of the library, which I have been using for as long as I've lived in Teaneck. And in fact, I found the library before I found my house. A great library is that important to me. I have also been a member of the Friends for almost as long as I've lived here. And I hope all of you are members of the Friends. I'd like, therefore, tonight to share a quote that was in their last newsletter, which you may have seen if you received their emails. It's words from author John Jakes. Quote, "Libraries are a pillar of any society. I believe our lack of attention to funding and caring for them properly in the United States has a direct bearing on problems of literacy, productivity, and our inability to compete in today's world. Libraries are every man's free university," end quote. Of course, we all know that there's no such thing as a free lunch, much less a free university. Our tax dollars provide this free public library, this free university, and its staff, its faculty. In this year, especially, when so much has been done online and has to be done online and virtually, the libraries need to make upgrades and to hire a technology expert is valid and should be fully funded. Remember what Mr. Jake said about how this affects literacy and our ability to compete and our productivity. This funding will benefit all library users and will keep things on an equal footing for those who can't afford privately the services and the expertise that the library provides for free, but which we know comes at significant expense. And that's a cost which I encourage you to support in their budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I am bringing in now another Lynn. Looks like Lynn Claus.
Yes, you are. I'm also like Lynn Buckingham. I've been a friend of the library for a long time. I've been on the board for a while. I'm a co-chair of the book sale, or actually chair of the book sale now. So I'm intimately connected with the library and I love what they do. I love what they've done for my daughter, who went all through Teaneck schools. Thank you, Teaneck, for your wonderful school system. And now I'm active in the library. And one of the things that has become so clear over the last year is that it's absolutely essential to have a dedicated tech librarian, because so much, as Lynn Buckingham said, so much is being done online and so much needs to be done online. And we need that kind of expertise to help our children succeed and to help our seniors stay connected to the world around them. And this person would have specialized knowledge to help people, help kids do research projects, to help seniors connect from their own home to people in other homes. There are just so many things that are technologically based that I'm sure you all know in the world today. And that person could really give our kids a leg up and our seniors a leg up. Okay, I'm repeating myself, sorry about that. But this is a vital service to the community, and the library may not be receiving visitors, but it is certainly not closed. And we need to support it in any way we can to give everybody an equal footing. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn Claus. At this time, Mayor, I see no other hands.
Okay, we will close good and welfare for this evening. And I'll briefly go around the council to see who has any comments. I'll start with Councilmember Pagan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank our residents for watching tonight. I want to thank our department and division heads for participating and making their presentations tonight. I look forward what they have to say, and thank you to the residents who spoke on behalf of the library. We appreciate your advocacy. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I sit here and we hear from some members of the public who really come out in favor of things that are near and dear to them. And that's really what, you know, gets to me. And I really want to thank the people that come out for the library. I use it. I've always been a fan of libraries. And, you know, those are the kinds of members that really, members of TNEC that really, you know, make this job worthwhile. Then you know, there are some others, and I want to respond to a little bit about what's said. We have pay-to-play laws, and they're important. And what they do is make sure that when people go and pay money to politicians, they can't get contracts. Now, there are rules, and the rules are important because not everything is disclosable. If you donate to a municipal campaign and you donate under $300, you don't have to disclose it. So the rules take that into effect. I mean, it would be silly if you made someone, you know, that only gave $200, $300, not be able to get a contract. They don't even have to disclose that it was given. So the rules take that into effect. Now, 3 people ran in an election and someone gave $300 to them. And somebody just keeps coming to these meetings and saying, illegal, illegal, illegal. I mean, they don't actually bring, you know, a lawsuit or, you know, the things that, you know, would actually determine that kind of stuff, but they just keep throwing it against the wall. And it's hard for the residents because, you know, they're not going to open the ordinance and say, oh, it actually says, except for this paragraph where, you know, it doesn't apply to if it's $300. And they hear this stuff. They hear that we are bonding like crazy. I threw up the chart last time and I have it up on, you know, TNECtoday.com. I'll try to put it like right at the top. And it shows how we're bonding compared to towns around us. We are in a better position fiscally than Bergenfield, Pagoda, Englewood, Hackensack, who else was in there? Fort Lee. You take a look at, and the state makes it so that you can compare these places. They have a special metric to compare the different towns. And you know, you hear that we have an $8 million settlement. You don't hear from them that only $2 million was part of, you know, the actual years concerned in the litigation. And the town went above and beyond and got, you know, not just the litigation years of 2007 to 2010, they went all the way through to 2019. So you have, you know, a number, yes, 8 million, but it covers a lot more years. That is a really good thing. And, you know, if you go in the decision and you see that it's favorable to TNEC in every single way, except one where the judge went their own way. It wasn't favorable to the other side. You know, this is, you know, the bread and butter of how budgets are made. It's complicated. It's somewhat messy. And the manager has done an excellent job. The CFO has done an excellent job. The council has, you know, been a steward of the public fisc in a way that, you know, is doing our job in a transparent way, that we are open and discussing everything that's going on. And then you have a couple people that come in and just, you know, hammer away with, you know, little tidbits with a nugget of truth in there in order to, what was it? Circle of sleaze. These are, you know, the things I thought we got rid of in January when it came to politics. But, you know, we need to raise the level of conversation. We need to raise the level of discourse. I want want to see more residents that are involved in talking the budgets that we're discussing. And thank you for indulging me.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaplan. Councilmember Organ.
No, I have nothing. I'm here to listen tonight, not to speak.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, thank you very much. I am actually got bounced off the Wi-Fi for some reason, so I dialed in instead. Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Councilman Kaplan, thank you for everything you said. You know, I find it truly amazing how we have these individuals with such great capacity hammering home on a toilet in a kitchen for a cost of $250,000, a number that I do not minimize in any way, shape, or form. Yet, when I went ahead and tried to propose a $75,000 cut to trees, all of a sudden, I believe their pal, William Orr, said that was nitpicking. But most importantly, I'm upset why we have such a hard-working group of people and friends on the Board of Education struggling with a $100 million budget every single year. And these individuals don't say a peep. But on a $250,000 kitchen, they've spoken about more than the kids that we're trying to educate. And I just find that sad because it's clearly a personal attack to some hardworking people that are working on behalf of the town. So on behalf of everyone who was attacked by them, they lost their election. It's sad. Listening to them is sad, but I appreciate your hard work, and please keep up keep up your efforts on behalf of Teaneck, and don't listen to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schwartz. I'm going to make some quick comments, and it's in regard to the Nishwan Group. I reached out to our attorney, and I wanted to find out all the legal aspects of this issue and the claims made by ex-council member Sohn. Specifically, there's an allegation that the Nishwan Group committed a violation of the township ordinance on political contributions. And as has been stated, they made a $900 contribution to the Joint Candidate Committee for the 3 successful candidates in the 2020 election: Deputy Mayor Schwartz, Councilmember Organ, and Councilmember Pagan. Pursuant to the equal attribute rule, any contribution to a Joint Candidate Committee is attributed equally to its individual members. In this case, 3 candidates each received $300. There is no violation of any rule. Moreover, anyone who thinks that any elected official, but most certainly any member of this council or administration, is swayed or influenced by a $300 or $900 aggregate contribution is sorely mistaken. But notwithstanding that the township does not believe that there is anything amiss with what has occurred, this matter is a non-matter. However, the Nishwan Group has never executed its agreement with Teaneck, and has, unfortunately, we have been advised that they will not do so. They have done no work for the township and have been paid no money. So that makes this a non-matter, as the township will now have to find an alternate planner. But I want to make one other comment, because this issue really ticks me off. The Nishwan Group is a minority-owned business. This council wanted to bring in a diverse planner. And the same folks who come to these meetings and consistently complain about anything this council does, and who continuously accuses us of being insensitive to the greater Teaneck community, are the ones who ran them off. I hope you're happy, because the township only has one other planner. So now Richard Priest will be reviewing the OSRP. This is sad, and this is a great example of how silliness can run amok and hurt people and hurt this town. I'm very disappointed. I hope maybe in the future we can talk to this group again so that we can do business because they are a high quality group. They were recommended. They are one of the best groups in the state from what I understand. And they should not have to be dragged through the mud by individuals who think that these political parlor games are the way things are done in government. So again, we have not done anything wrong. The candidates did nothing wrong. They are completely above board in how that was handled. And we're going to have to move forward now with Mr. Priest to review the OSRP. And I hope that finally puts to rest, although I'm not sure that it will. But these people have had enough in terms of being told that they did something nefarious or wrong or illegal. They did nothing wrong, period. I think right now we will move to the proposed resolution that we added to the agenda. Doug, is there a number? Are you going to assign a number for this now?
I believe it's 82-2021. But don't hold me to that. Wait until the minutes come out. I just need to see what the software comes up with. But I believe our last resolution, last meeting was 81. And
okay.
I believe this is 82. So let's just refer to it as 82 for now.
All right. So can I have a motion to move resolution declaring solidarity with Asian American, and Pacific Islander community?
Motion, Schwartz.
Motion. Yep. For a second.
By Councilmember Kaplan, seconded by Deputy Mayor Schwartz. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gahn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ.
A heartfelt yes.
Councilman Kaplan.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes.
82 is adopted.
All right, thank you. And now we will get into the discussion of the budget. Dean, do you want to take it over?
Yep, I just want to say, well said, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and members of council on the responses to the public during good and welfare. First up, we have recreation, and I believe we have Glenna. I don't think she is in the queue, but I think she's dialing in, Doug.
I think she's logged in as TNEC Group B.
Okay.
I also think I see Councilwoman Rami Rice here.
Okay.
I'm bringing her in also.
Okay. Just
Glenna,
want to get
you as Group B?
Yes, that's me.
okay. All right. Perfect. So we'll cover recreation first, and I just want to go over a few figures here. In 2020, we adopted 393,060. 393,060 in 2020. This year, we're asking council for $531,920. That's up $138,860, and mainly due to extra money put in to the budget that would cover a potential contract with the swim club, since we are not opening the Voti Park built-in pool this summer. So that really accounts for the difference between 20 and 21. I'll go over the capital project for recreation after Glenna speaks for a few minutes. Glenna will go over staffing. She will go over programs that we're looking forward to in the spring, in the summer as well, all contingent upon the relaxation of certain guidelines by the governor. But Glenna, I'll turn it over to you, and you can just go through some of your big ticket items.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Good evening, council. Recreation continues to promote physical health and wellness. As you know, our facility right now serves as the vaccine distribution center, sometimes 7 days a week. We're offering and planning on registration for our spring classes for our youth, adults, and seniors outdoors at the band shell or the sportsplex. And we will continue to offer the virtual classes for seniors for the upcoming seasons. We're also planning on summer camps, pools, sprinklers, our July 4th community celebration and parade, all depending on the governor's executive orders, along with our outdoor band concerts, movies in the park, And hopefully later on this year, we can enjoy a community celebration for our 125th anniversary. Of course, we continue to offer our transportation for senior and disabled residents. We continue to issue permits for outdoor requests, and our preschool and after-school programs have been in operation all year. For the senior center, we're asking for that one part-time position to become a full-time professional position. Mary Beth has been operating the senior center, doing yeoman's work for very, very long years, but at this point in time, she does need an assistant. So we're asking for that one part-time position to become a full-time professional position.
Glenna, that position was approved in 2020, so that passed with that budget. It originally was part-time. Council approved the full-time position, and right now we have it in the budget as a delayed start, effective September 1st.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So that everyone knows, again, we are planning for 4th of July, the 4th of July parade, the ceremonies at Votey Park. Again, we're also planning to do something, a belated 125th birthday to the township sometime this year. Again, the plan is to make it a Teaneck Family Day that will culminate with fireworks at dusk. I'm planning on moving forward with the Memorial Day celebration on the municipal green and also the Memorial Day street fair. Again, this is all contingent on the relaxation of certain executive orders, but we are planning for this. We want to move ahead with it, and we'll make sure that everything is in place so that we can get these important ceremonies done. One of the other things I wanted to bring up under recreation is some of the most projects that we'll be doing for recreational purposes. That includes the Phelps Park bathroom, the band shell, which again, these are all moving forward right now. The completion of the Hawthorne tennis courts, the completion of the new playground equipment at Tuyum Park. We have to bring all playground equipment up to code for our playgrounds. That's a most project. Chess tables and chairs that were requested by the seniors. That will be taking place in Votey Park. Picnic tables for the field house and other needed equipment that we might need for the field house. In addition, under capital, we're doing sprinkler upgrades in Oregon Park that must be ADA and backflow compliant. Tennis court lights replacements at Votey Park. And we're going to erect a shelter where the splash pad is at and the picnic area is at. So there's a lot going on from the recreation end, a lot of improvements that I'm very excited about. And again, a lot of this will be covered under most. And in 2020 for capital, they called for in 2020, the resurfacing of the basketball courts at Votey Park as well. So a lot going on, a lot taking place. And again, the increase in the rec operations budget is really because of the money I set aside for a potential contract with the swim club for this summer for our residents that use the Teaneck Votey Park pool, which will not be open. Glenna, anything else?
No, that's about covers it.
Okay. Council, any questions for Ms. Crockett?
I just want to say to Glenna, job well done. You know, there are a lot of things that have to be repaired and updated, and clearly with the work of the PPRAB and you and your staff, you've really highlighted the key issues that have to be taken care of. So I thank you, and I'm looking forward to really utilizing the most funds to get these things started. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, Mark Schwartz.
Go ahead.
I also wanted to thank, obviously, Glenna for the hard work trying to pivot. I know it was hard. And while there was a lot of stuff last year that may not have happened or not everyone agreed with, something the manager just touched upon just now that will be a lot of talk in the future, in the near future, is the Voti and the Teaneck Swim Club pools or shifting from one to the other. That is going to be huge. It's going to be a lot of work on behalf of the recreation. So I thank you, thank the whole department for the work that's to come. This is going to be an incredible project. Sorry, it's going to be overwhelming in some cases what we're looking to do, and we're going to save the town millions by this project and really bring a lot of families into the swim club that really have not been able to enjoy that property that we hope to for many more years to come. So I look forward to that, and there'll be a lot more about this coming forward in the very near future.
Mayor, in addition to some of the things I mentioned with the Rhoda Center, again, we had the new facade this year, new roofs, some windows. There's going to be new partitions, dimmer switches for both gyms, upgraded lighting. DPW did a lot of upgrades with painting. So again, a lot of work was done in that Rhoda Center, and we'll continue to do so just to make that facility a premier location for everyone in town.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you see my hand raised.
Oh, hi, council member. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. I'm sorry for my tardiness. I was actually attending the vigil, and I imagine I missed the proposed council listed item of the resolution. I did share that at the rally, and I would like to, I don't know if we voted on that yet, but would like to say that I'm fully in support of the resolution that was noted. I also want to say thank you to Glenna for all her work and also making sure that our items are age friendly, various ages, that she takes care of our young folks as well as our seniors. And also I'm very happy to see that the township land of the swim club that the swim club utilizes can now be utilized by all Teaneck residents. So that's it. Thank you.
I noted that, Councilwoman.
Okay. All right, Dean.
All right, yeah, just a special shout out to Glenna staff. They've done a magnificent job with the Rhoda Center being used as a pod point of distribution. They've been great, very cooperative from the maintenance staff to the assistant superintendent. So I just want to personally thank them. Next is the library budget. And if you can allow Mr. McGinley in, Doug.
Sir McGinley is coming in right now.
Okay, I see him on. So Mayor, the library operational budget also sees a minor increase of $16,000, $269, equivalent to 3.71%. So in 2020, we adopted 438,000. This year, Mr. McGinley is asking for $454,269. Some of the line items that went up a little bit are for materials, repairs and maintenance, and programs. So that being said, I'll let Mr. McGinley speak a little bit about his budget. Alan?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Just to share a couple quick notes on the library. The library has been seeing an increase in library visits and usage the past few years. In 2019, library visits went up 7%. During the first quarter of 2020, up until the outbreak and initial service changes on March 13th, circulation of print books were up 12% compared to that same period in 2019. Demand for ebooks continues to go up, with 2020 circulation of digital content up 99%. And it's not just due to the pandemic, because this follows a 2019 increase of 60%. Attendance at programs and events was close to 10,000 in 2019, and it increased 58% to more than 15,000 in 2020. The library provides an incredible return on investment, actually saving residents money. In 2019, the library had a nearly 4 million ROI. And in 2020, despite the pandemic and obvious limitations to services, the library still had an ROI of 1.4 million. These values are not even based on all library services, but just selected services. And you can see the full details of that in the library's annual report. Just to go over a few of the areas from the budget request. Request for physical materials is actually flat. Usage of print books is up, but physical media is down. The request for non-print materials, including ebooks and other digital content, is up 9% due to the increased demand we're seeing with a 99% increase in digital circulation. The repair and maintenance it's actually an 11% decrease from what was adopted last year, due in part to projected reduced HVAC repair costs due to the proposed replacement of the cooling tower. Slight increase in supplies and janitorial due to PPE and other COVID-related costs. Postage and phone are actually down due to relying more on electronic notification methods. Library equipment and contract services are flat. Library education and training is flat. There's an increase in library programs due to the increased demand that we're seeing. We actually spent $10,000 on programs in 2020, and some of the cost categories were actually reduced by the pandemic. Would you like me to also talk about the position at this point?
Yeah, Alan, if you could just explain what I guess a digital librarian is, what he or she would do, and the purpose and need for it.
Sure. The emerging technologies or digital librarian it's a reference librarian position with a focus on technology. This position would provide much needed public service in the reference department, including at least 10 hours per week, which is currently covered by the library director, and also coordinate technology infrastructure planning to ensure the library building has the capacity to meet the 21st century technology needs of residents, including broadband internet, Wi-Fi, desktop and mobile computing, and electricity and mobile device charging. Technology innovation planning, including the implementation of enhancements like RFID barcodes, which replace your traditional barcodes, automated book return and sorting, and automated book lockers for pickups outside of normal library hours. These are standard at many libraries throughout New Jersey, but innovations that we do not have and would ultimately allow the more efficient use of personnel for the library. Development of the library's digital collections, electronic resources, provision of much needed technology training opportunities to Teaneck residents of all ages, and deployment of staff technology training opportunities to help keep employees, to help them develop and refine the much needed emerging technology skills. A few quick notes on the library's personnel. So library staffing has decreased by 10 full-time positions from 2011 to 2018, where full-time positions have since remained flat. This reduction in 10 full-time positions represents a nearly 35% reduction in full-time staffing at the library. Even with filling this proposed position, the proposed full-time budget request approved by the township manager represents an almost 18% decrease in the personnel budget from 2015. The library needs an emerging technologies librarian so that it can continue to evolve and remain responsive in the 21st century information, literacy, and technology needs of Teaneck residents.
All right, so what I did, Mayor, is I prorated the digital librarian position starting September 1st. So that is incorporated into our salary budget, and it's prorated at 4 months of pay from September 1st until the end of the year. From the capital end, for the library, we have 43,000 in there that covers the library rooftop cooling tower. So that is included in capital. I neglected under recreation capital to mention that we're going to put in electronic doors by the senior center, which is the east entrance by the upper parking lot, and that will make us ADA compliant and help out our seniors that use that area of the Rhoda Center, and that's at a cost of $12,000. So for the library, the only thing under capital is the cooling tower for 2021. You're on mute, Jim, Mayor.
My Wi-Fi is going in and out here. I'm sorry. Anybody have any questions of Mr. McGinley or the manager with regards to the library?
Yes, Mayor, I have a question.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, well, first let me start by saying how starting with last night, our library director, in addition to having a pop-up library today, in addition to transitioning, has done an awesome yeoman's job of making sure that our community is still able to take full access to our library. So certainly believe that, especially in terms of digitizing and moving forward, and definitely in support of that. But I also just wanted to ask, in terms of, you mentioned all the other positions that remain unfulfilled. Do you feel that the library still has all the staffing needs met currently, despite all those openings that haven't been fulfilled? I believe you since 2011, did you mention?
Yes, that's right. And what has happened with the reduction in when someone retires or leaves a position, I think what really should happen is that position should be evaluated. And I think we lost a lot of positions due to attrition. Those positions weren't reevaluated. There may have been some responsibilities that we didn't need anymore, but there wasn't any thought given to what new responsibilities we did need. And so that's part of the goal of this emerging technologies position. With the positions that the other positions that we've lost, what you've seen an increase in part-time hours. So typically, we typically actually go over in order to be able to just keep the building open under normal circumstances and provide the services that we have. We typically go over what's allotted for the part-time budget. I ensure that we're able to, the entire budget, all works, but we've, increased the part-time hours. And we've had to do a lot of consolidating and a lot of staff taking on new and additional responsibilities, and we're just we've been sort of cut to the breaking point as far as being able to even offer existing services, let alone innovate the way that a lot of our neighboring libraries are doing.
Mm-hmm. So this one position would be helpful, but if you had your druthers, it sounds like you would like to have even more.
Yeah, this one position is what I'm requesting for this year, but there are certainly other ways in the future that the library could would appreciate additional support from the council, and we would we're always trying to make sure that we're using taxpayer funds and using our resources as well as possible, and not doing anything irresponsible and anything wasteful. But a lot of people have had to take on a lot of additional work, which it prevents us from being able to sort of expand and offer residents other things that residents would really appreciate.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that information.
Anyone
Mayor?
else? Councilmember
Yes,
Kaplan.
Mr. Mayor, Mark Schwartz. Oh.
What? I just saw Keith. I'm sorry. Keith, go ahead. And
I
then
actually have to cut.
Mark.
Well, I just want to thank you, Mr. McGinley, for coming and presenting. When I had first met you, when you first came in, I was impressed from the get-go, the initiatives that you set up, engaging the public, bringing people in to, give ideas of what they thought the library needs. My guess is pandemic proofing the building wasn't on the board, but sometimes you get curveballs. You've done an amazing job pivoting. The residents have see as the liaison the constant use which has been ticking up, and I'm really looking forward to moving the library in ways that make it future-proof for years to come. So I'm happy to see, especially around budget time, when you come in with ideas that help for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, two things. First, I just want to apologize to everyone. I do have to hang up in about 1 minute to go to the planning board. We have a large agenda at the planning board that needs to that I need to be virtually present for. But I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not going to mic drop, but if I do, I apologize. We spend, Mr. Director, we spend $1 million more per year than the statute requires. Now, maybe every town does it, so that there's the answer. How do you respond to that compared to how other towns are doing it? Bergenfield or Paramus, are they also doing it more? And that's, of course, we're on level playing field, or is Teaneck ahead in that regard. So with the additional $1 million that we're spending.
So the issue with the minimum funding that the state sets is that's dictated by the tax revenue in the town and the tax base. So you have a town like Paramus, which operates on minimum funding, but whose minimum funding is, I think, almost $4 million. It's significantly higher than Teaneck. Well, their population is, I think, about half or 2/3 of what Teaneck's population is. And so, it just depends, on the township, what their tax base is, what their ratables are. That impacts, what the minimum funding is and whether or not a library needs to be funded beyond the legal minimum in order to offer services.
Okay, I understand that. I'll speak with the manager for greater details related to those other towns, but that is definitely helpful. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. McGinley? Okay, I just had one, well, I have a comment and I have a question. And I wanted to echo Councilmember Rice's comments about the fine work you did last night and how much you helped getting the lecture series going the past few weeks. Your expertise, and as I said, you're going to have to teach me how to do those chat rooms, separate chat rooms, and how you did that with Zoom. But I just wanted to publicly thank you for your hard work and input on making it, I think, a very successful 2 lecture series. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, in terms of the digital, the person that you want to do the digital work with, have you considered looking at doing this as an outsource? Is there a market to outsource this type of work?
It's really a leadership position. We need someone with library expertise. One of the things that I would like to have this person help us do is to really do innovation planning for the library. There's a type of system called RFID. So this is the next generation beyond your typical barcodes. With RFID tagging, you can put these tags on library items. You can set up, for example, like our book return or our book drop could be set up to scan these barcodes. So as soon as someone puts an item through the book return, it could automatically come off their account. We could set up shelving that has this type of scanning so that we know absolutely what items are on shelves. And so implementing these kind of projects and implementing, like book sorting, things that we can do to really improve the efficiency so that we're using our personnel to the most efficient way possible. These are really skills and a type of experience that we really need someone, who has worked in the library field, who has that kind of background. I would certainly investigate all options, but I think it really needs to be a dedicated professional position. And it's someone I see as playing a leadership role, not only within the library, but hopefully, part of the township team as we continue to collaborate on technology initiatives.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Dean?
Yep. All right, next I have the legal services budget. And we have Mr. Shedanian here, of course. I just want to comment that, again, John has done an excellent job in keeping our legal costs down, not only from the township end, but from the labor end as well. He's done an excellent job in this is remaining flat in 2020. We had it at $1,022,500. It's remaining flat for 2021. Again, this budget covers many different subcategories, and I'll let John explain and where he was at with the budget in 2020. John?
Thank you, Dean, and good evening, everyone. It's a tough act to follow, recreation in the library, when you're the law department, but we'll do our best, just so that everybody in the public understands what the law department in Teaneck consists of, because it's not just me that you see usually at our meetings. We have a team at my law firm of lawyers who work on Teaneck matters, including Bill Rupp, who's a former township attorney, Bruce Rosen, Valentina Sirica, and several others. We also, in the law department, have the prosecutors in Teaneck, and our 3 prosecutors, Mike Kingman, Linda Schwager, Mark Colello, are doing a great job. I speak regularly with them about the status of the courts and with Judge Randazzo and Judge Youngblood, and we're very proud of the work that our prosecutors are doing. We're also very proud of our public defender, Navarro Gray, who also falls within the law department. So as you can see, the law department consists of a lot of different areas, but it also consists of something else this year, because for the first time in the law department's budget, the CFO, the manager, and myself sat down, and in an effort for greater transparency, which is something we're always striving for here in Teaneck, we incorporated the COA issue into the law department budget. And what I mean by that is the planner and the registered agent, who are the people that oversee our COA issues, are now also underneath the law department budget. So when I say that we interact with every department in Teaneck, I mean it. You know, the law department runs the gamut, whether it's recreation, the fire department, the police department, of course, the clerk's office, the manager, we're speaking to pretty much on a daily basis. We handle all those issues. We negotiate the contracts in conjunction with the manager. And as Manager Kaczynski just stated, we've had a really successful run of negotiating very solid labor contracts for the township, which are keeping the township's financial status from that side of things in a very good spot. We also handle all of the labor matters, the grievances, the disciplinary matters, etc. We review and prepare all the ordinances and resolutions that you see at all the council meetings. We also research legal issues as they arise, depending on whether they come from the manager or the council. We deal with the clerk on a regular basis regarding Oprah. As everyone hears, pretty regularly at our meetings, Oprah's always an issue in Teaneck, and there are always Oprah requests that are being responded to, and we provide guidance to the clerk, and our clerk, Doug Roussillon, is doing an amazing job with that. We also handle the litigation. Now, thankfully, Teaneck has done a really good job of staying out of litigation. Every municipality gets sued. It's part of life. It's part of being essentially a public corporation. And Teaneck is one of the larger ones, as you know, in Bergen County. It's actually the second largest. So being sued is part of life when you're operating. However, the residents of Teaneck should rest assured that the lawsuits that are against Teaneck have been handled at a very high level and are resulting in excellent results, including, and I'd like to just comment for a second about something that was said during Good and Welfare. Ex-Councilman Sohn decided to harp on the Glen Point tax appeal and make an issue about the Glen Point tax appeal. Well, for someone who's not a lawyer and who doesn't handle tax appeals and has really no knowledge of what goes into that kind of litigation, he doesn't know whence he speaks. And I really want to make it clear to the public that the Glen Point tax appeal was the largest tax appeal in Bergen County at the time when it was filed in terms of the dollar value. The Glen Point is the premier hotel in Bergen County. It is the largest, I believe, as well, the largest hotel. And it's not just the hotel, it's the entire office complex, as well as the residential areas that are there. So you're talking about a piece of property that is massive and is a significant source of revenue for Teaneck. However, we also had a market crash in 2007, 2008, and therefore real estate values went down. So just like every other large commercial real estate owner, the Glen Point owners filed the tax appeal. That tax appeal number this case was settled for, it was below what all of the town's experts suggested the case should settle for. And again, if you talk to any tax appeal attorney, any tax appeal jurist, any tax appeal appraiser or assessor, they will all tell you that the number that the township ended up with as a settlement was a number that was far below what the actual value of that appeal was. And therefore, that is a win for the Teaneck taxpayers, despite the fact that it sounds like it's an exceptional amount of money. That's money that you didn't pay out for the last 12 years. And now you get to pay it out over 30 years, as has been explained by various members of the council and our other experts. So, we also handle the tax appeals. We didn't handle that one in particular, but we handle the other tax appeals for Teaneck because you have to know which things are in your bailiwick and which ones are not. I'm proud to say that our legal budget and our spending, as the manager indicated, has gone down dramatically during our tenure as the township attorney. When I got on board as the town attorney, and I was the labor attorney previously, the annual legal budget in terms of the spending from just the lawyer as the labor attorney and the town attorney was averaging between $800,000 and $1 million a year. And since we have gotten into the position, we have kept that number below 700, usually below 600. And last year, my law firm kept it below 600. It was about $560,000 last year. So that's about almost half of what it was before we came on board. We're very proud of that fact. But again, as I indicated, the legal budget, which the manager mentioned, which is staying static, doesn't just include my law firm. It includes the public defender. It includes the prosecutors. It includes the planner. It includes the registered agent. And when you add those all together, keeping the legal budget where it has been for the last several years is the prudent thing to do. We're looking forward to having 2020 was a rough year for everybody. We're looking forward to 2021 being a better year and more successful year even than 2020. And we thank the council for its support, and we recommend the budget as it's set forth. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Again, I just want to say, John, the legal team plays, a key role in minimizing our exposure to litigation. John and his team have done an incredible job in mitigating potential claims. I just want to remind council that, 11 years running, no employee litigation compared to where we were at pre-2009. For a town our size, that's a pretty good run. Not saying it's never going to happen, but to go almost 11 years, that's a job well done. A team effort well done.
Thank you, Dean. It absolutely is a team effort.
Yeah, and I want to thank you, John, for the good counsel you've given me, certainly as a council member and now as mayor. You've always been there. You've always been on the end of the phone when I rang, and you've always given me good advice and good direction on how to do things better or best for this town. So I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'll just mention one thing if I can, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and certainly that, included me before I got into this gig, have no idea some of the complexities of what's involved. And, sometimes you read something that's fairly simple. It says the mayor shall appoint. And I thought that was pretty clear. And I argued with Mr. Shedanian. The text says the mayor shall appoint. How much clearer do you want it? And he shows me, this other section of the code that says where it refers to a mayor. If you're in a council manager form of government, the mayor shall be considered the manager. And I'll be damned. There's a reason that lawyers get paid the prevailing wages that they do, and luckily for us, municipal attorneys get less than his hourly rate in the market. But no, I really do want to thank the job that they've been doing. Certainly keeping that sum down has been the work of Manager Kaczynski, and keeping the town in very good footing by way of lawsuits. But thank you very much.
Okay, Dean.
Okay, I just have a couple other small budgets to go over. I'll take care of them. The first one is the building department. 2020, we adopted $115,465. This year, we're looking at $88,245, a decrease of about 23%. And a reason behind that is the planner, where we put money into the building department, is now in the legal account. So that really attributes to the amount that we see for the reduction in the 2021 budget. So again, 2020 was 115,465. 2021 was 88,245, and we took the planner fees from the building budget and put it into legal. So that covers the building department. Let's go to my budget, the manager's budget. That is remaining flat. 2020, I asked for 78,250. That's what was adopted. 2021, asking for the same thing again. That just covers the essential stationery supplies, office equipment, professional affiliation. The grant writing consultant falls under that, public information, training, and computer software. So again, that budget is remaining flat. The council budget is also remaining flat. In 2020, we adopted 102,000. 2021, it's the same thing. Again, we have extra money in there that covers Teanec's 125th anniversary. So again, that account is remaining flat. And the clerk's budget, we have seen a decrease of almost 44%. And that's attributed to no May election in 2021. So we're saving a considerable amount of money. In 2020, we adopted 137,159. And that was because of all the elections. And in 2021, we're down to 76,834. Again, that's a reduction of almost 44%. So that really covers the main departments with the budget. As I mentioned, with our capital budget this year, we're looking at 4.855. We kept it under 5 million. And I think the items on there really stand to serve exactly what we need in this time. And so again, it's 2 years in a row, we're under 5 million, and we're getting really the essential items that Public Works needs. We went over that last week, the municipal facilities upgrades, police and fire equipment, and our streets and roads and emergency sewer replacement. So again, this year is at 4.855 million. I'll be meeting with the budget subcommittee next Thursday morning, and we'll discuss the budget a little bit more, and we'll see where we're at after Thursday.
All right. You want to go over capital now, Dean?
I have a couple of questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Who had a question?
Yes, thanks, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Dean, just wanted to ask, in your report, I know that we have, again, the grant writing consultant, and I know we often ask these questions and we used to get the reports. Do we feel like we are still getting the bang for the buck with our grant writer? I know that the rate appears to be the same, but are we getting our value worth?
Yeah, I believe we are. Again, there's not too many games in town with grant writing. We have looked into another competitor where I'm satisfied with Millennium. I will send out the most recent report that Millennium provided me. Our customer service rep right now is a fellow named Michael Weiss. So I will get that out to council, but I'm satisfied with their services. They're very responsive to me. And I've had no issues with them. Again, we're paying, let's see, we're paying 42,000.
42, right.
42 for Millennium. So again, from my end, and I think all the other department heads that deal directly with Mr. Weiss with Millennium are satisfied with their services as well.
Yeah. I would add to Councilmember Rice that, I was pretty outspoken negatively with regards to this firm. I think with the change in personnel, and I think we've had several actually,
yes,
I came on council. I think the responsiveness is better, and I think they clearly know what our needs are. So I feel a bit more comfortable, but I think the reports, Dean, would be good for the council to see.
Sure, absolutely. So with capital, Mayor, again, I went over the items for each department when I did their operations budget, and I'll go over this quickly again. From the police and fire equipment for 2021, you have the Alcatest machine that will replace the outdated breathalyzer currently at the police department. That one is decades old. We have an incident commander and 2 inspector vehicles for the fire department. We have fiber optic that we need in order to transition to Hackensack dispatching for our fire department. You have the SCBA tax for the fire department. So under police and fire equipment, that comes to 515,000. Streets and roads, we're allocating 2.215 million for road resurfacing. Again, we're going to do 32 streets and one of our municipal parking lots. That includes any safety equipment that we want for LED signs, maybe some RFBs again, traffic calming striping, curb replacement. That all falls under that 2.215 million. Again, we have the resurfacing of a municipal parking lot that's yet to be determined. That's at $250,000, and we always put money in for emergency sewer replacements. That's at 100,000. So under streets and roads, we have $2.565 million. Under parks, playgrounds, recreation improvements, we have the sprinkler upgrade, Oregon Park, ADA and backflow compliant. Tennis court lights at Boti, we need to replace them. We have the shelter by the splash pad that houses our picnic tables. There'll be a nice overhead shelter. That covers parks, playground, recreation improvements. Again, I'm not mentioning the most items. I brought those up earlier, but that's not under capital. Municipal facilities upgrades, we put 200,000 in for DPW. Fencing at assorted parks and backstops. We always need to do this every year. There's 30,000 in there. We have the cooling tower for the library, which is 43,000. The electric doors for the senior center entrance at the Rota Center, which is 12,000. So under municipal facilities upgrades, we have $285,000. Public works equipment, that totals 1.155 million. That covers equipment that Kevin really can use, the Bobcat skid steer, a tree truck with the chipper, the street sweeper, the sewer jet. And again, we're going into a shared service agreement with Bergenfield to purchase a tub grinder. So we have to contribute 200,000. Now with that, one municipality has to take the lead. I spoke to their administrator, Corey Gallo, the other day. They will take the lead and front the money for that. It's 600,000. 3 towns are in it. Teaneck would have to pay our cost 200,000, but Bergenfield will put up to 600,000, and we will need to reimburse them 200,000 once our budget passes. And that covers capital. Again, that totals 4.855 million.
Okay. Are there any other accounts, Dean, that you wanted to go over? You see, you have your various accounts.
There's really nothing else. That all the other little ones remain flat, Mayor.
Okay. Council have any questions of the manager?
I just had one question. I don't know it. I don't know if it would make any difference because it's not on the line item for anything immediate. But if the ALPRs wound up coming off, considering they're not even in use right now, would that have any impact on the budget?
No, it really wouldn't, Keith. And again, with the ALPRs, that might be something, if we need to purchase, that's maybe something we can get under forfeiture as well.
Okay, that's fine.
Any other questions, Councilmember Rice?
Yes, Dean. I had a question with regard to in your budget for salaries. So I understand that you have had a number of positions that are opening, and is there enough money in the budget to cover those additional new hires, or are you looking to rehire? I just was concerned about making sure that your budget was sufficient to attract and maintain your staffing.
No, thank you for that. I'm all set with staff. I have, of course, the deputy manager, Mr. Rowe. I have my executive assistant, Luis De Paz, and a position that also falls under the manager's budget is a part-time position in the clerk's office. That falls under the manager's budget. So really everything in my office is filled right now. And so I think I'm in pretty good shape right now.
Okay, so in terms of salaries and benefits in some of the other departments that are I think a couple in the health department have opened up,
Sure.
and some of the other areas, are there,
Yep.
are those sufficiently
Well,
allocated?
right, yeah, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's about 18 positions we need to fill altogether, and it's in the budget book. And under summary for proposed salaries and wages. So we do need to fill the police officer positions. We need to fill 5 for the July 1st class. We need to fill 2 firefighter positions, 2 laborer positions at Public Works, a plumber, carpenter, tree climber as well. We need to replace the deputy registrar position. Ms. Turnbull retired. She was our registrar. She recently retired. I moved up and promoted the deputy registrar, Nicole Martinez. She is our acting registrar. So I do need to replace the position of deputy registrar. I also need to replace one of our registered environmental health specialists. We had an employee take a health officer position with North Bergen. So she recently left. There was a promotion for her, and she left to go to North Bergen as their health officer. I plan on, again, with Vantage Health, ending their contract, professional services contract with us, and come on or about July 1st, bring back the social work specialist position. That's a civil service title. So I'd like to bring someone back on full-time. There is a need for it from the health end, from the police end, having someone here full-time would really benefit the residents of Teaneck and our workforce as well. There's a lot of times the police department needs that resource, and right now, sometimes it's not readily available. So having going back to social work specialists would really, I think, benefit everyone. And again, you have that senior division position. Again, that was approved full-time by council in 2020. And we did not fill it because of COVID. So I want to fill that position and have that person work with Mary Beth Hubbard. And we did prorate that position to start September 1st. Of course, you have the digital librarian position that Mr. McGinley is asking for. I prorated that for 4 months of pay to start September 1st, if approved by council. And our deputy court administrator left for a larger court recently to Hoboken. And so we have to replace the deputy court administrator position as well. So there's quite a few positions we need to fill to get these departments up to the staffing they need to be at.
Okay, great. So thank you for that, Dean. And I just also want to make sure that you have what you need to attract and retain, as we like, the best and the brightest. We don't want to be losing our folks to other townships. We'd like to make sure that they stay here with us.
A lot, again, a lot is out of my control. We have some pretty brilliant people here that work for us that, if they don't get the opportunity to become a department head, they have the certifications, that they're going to move forward. And especially our court administrator, and she was excellent. Tina Mirios, who recently left, she was very good at what she did, and the opportunity came up in another town, and she jumped on it. So we're going to lose some people here and there. A lot of the reasons is because of salary as well. Contractual salary that's out of my control. There are other municipalities that do pay more, that may be a little more attractive to some of the employees. So it's difficult. We don't see too many people go. We've had a bunch of people retire as well, and but these are positions that we really, I think, need to fill to make sure we maintain the staffing levels that the department heads need, and we retain, the services that we can provide to the residents of Teaneck.
Okay, great. And I'm very happy to hear about the social work. I've been a long advocate for that. And especially, I think COVID has taught us that, of the needs of servicing our residents. So happy that we'll be fulfilling that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any further questions of the manager? Okay, hearing none. Do I hear a motion then to adjourn?
Make a motions to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Mr.
everybody.
Manager.
Good night.
Appreciate it.
Okay, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Be safe.